Hope you guys had a really good Thanksgiving. We did. It was a nice time. It was just us. It was quiet, just us, just our little family. We had a ton of food, which was amazing. Thanksgiving has always been like special to me, just like a lot of people, but like I always remember Thanksgiving just being just special, and like my mom would purpose to make it special and have a lot of food. Even in hard times, it seemed like we had a bunch of food, which was nice. Like my mom just had a way of just like multiplying things, you know? And so like I definitely want to recreate or create new memories like that with my kids, to where they think back and they think of Thanksgiving as just this special family time, and that they always had an abundance of food, and that they could just eat whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, all day on Thanksgiving, and just being thankful for the abundance that we do have, you know, like the roof over our head and the food that we have, and just us being together. It was a great time. Another thing I remember about Thanksgivings when I was younger is playing board games with the family. That was a bunch of fun. I always loved playing board games with the family, especially when younger siblings started learning how to read and could play the games themselves, or, you know, without much help. We're getting to that stage right now in our family where everybody is starting to read. Like there are a couple, like Gideon still needs help reading and stuff like that on some things or whatever, but just board games have become more and more fun, and we were able to do that yesterday, is play board games as a family, and it was just a bunch of fun. It was neat. So I hope you guys had a awesome time too. My cat, I don't want him to break the blinds. He wants to see out the window. I'm like, anyway, so hope you guys are having a great day today too. So, as you know, yesterday was full of cooking and food and sticky and raw turkey and like stuff that you just want to clean up after, right? Okay, sticky stuff, sugar stuff. So, yesterday, besides just the plain old soap, water, I use this dish soap and water, clean off everything, clean off my dishes. And then I use this. I sprayed this on all my countertops and my table just to make sure that I got every nook and cranny, and I wiped it off. It's a Tough and Tender multi-purpose cleaner. But what I wanted to actually talk to you about was this right here, Soluguard. It's a disinfectant. I sprayed this where I had the turkey, the raw meat turkey touching the surface of like the counter and stuff. I actually even sprayed it into the sink just to get the disinfectant around. Guys, these cleaners are a life changer, and I'm able to spray them on the surface of my kitchen without even having to worry about it because it's non-toxic. So I get on here and I share little blips, little seconds of time about my day and about my lifestyle and about my life. And I really like to do it. There's a number of you guys that have become really close friends to me, and you're very special to me, and I really like doing this. I like talking to you guys. I like interacting and connecting with you guys. But I do get a handful of people that, all in good tensions, I think, maybe not, but just randomly say how lucky I am, and which is cool. I am glad that you see that I have a blessed life, a good life, or whatever. But it hasn't always been like this. It's just like anything. It's one decision after another. And those one decisions at a time, praying and hoping it's the right or good decision at the time, that's what makes up your life, is the moment by moment decisions you make. And what you see right now is the result or the product of every single decision I've made from my past. And my life has not been easy. It's not been super hard altogether. I've had a bunch of hard times for sure, especially the last decade and a half. And I'm not talking about how I had to grow up and become an adult. More like I had to enter into adulthood not normal, not like everybody else. And I know I talk about it off and on about being in a cult and being raised in a cult and just our different lifestyle, or different practices, or different things that we did or didn't do. But one quick example of just a difference is I spent my entire life with my mom and my older sister, and the last 4 years I haven't, because we've been in a different place, a different state, literally different states, and just different states mentally and stuff like that. So like I grew up having Thanksgiving and Christmas with my mom and sister, and then like for about 2 decades, or like in between 15 and 20 years, we didn't even celebrate Christmas. And then we left the cult and started to reintroduce holidays, which was fantastic. But they were definitely different from when we first did them when we were growing up. My mom always hosted Thanksgiving, and it was amazing. The first Thanksgiving we had after being a part of a cult, my sister hosted, and she did a really good job, but things were just different. Our family was different. It was not the same. It was actually probably one of the worst Thanksgivings we've ever had, and not my sister's fault. It was our family. Our family was broken for sure. Because one thing that a lot of people, probably almost everyone, unless you're like in that sort of lifestyle, would not ever understand is that we were so in the cult lifestyle. We were so dependent upon each other for everything that when we left the cult, we didn't want to depend on anything. We didn't want to depend on anybody for anything whatsoever. We wanted to do everything ourselves to prove that we could. And so when you have a cult, when you're in like our cult or whatever, where you had to support, back up, contribute everything that somebody was into, whether you agreed with it or wanted to or not. When you're breaking free of that, about having your own thoughts, having your own opinions, and actually being able to act upon your own thoughts and your own opinions, and being independent on what you actually feel and want to be like or act like, or how you want your lifestyle to be, you tend to push away everything that would make you feel like you're dependent upon them. And so that was us at that Thanksgiving. We were all pushing against each other because we didn't want to depend like that on each other any longer. And so ever since then, ever since that last Thanksgiving together, we've all been on our own. Dakota and I have done Thanksgiving at just our family, just at our house. And I'm happy to say that definitely different from that first Thanksgiving outside of the cult. We are better because we have had that time to really focus on what we actually individually love and like and want to live. And we have basically, maybe not all of us, but a select few of us, basically accepted the way that each other wants to live, because it's our own freaking life. We can live however we want to live. We don't need each other like that. And we can still love each other, and we can still interact with each other and have relationships with each other. And one of these days, we will probably have Thanksgiving and Christmas again together, you know? And so, yes, thank you for acknowledging what I have right now. It took many decisions, many choices, many hard times, many challenging things that we purpose to put ourselves in. We purpose to push ourselves through. We purpose to get that independence away from our past, away from what drug us down and basically held us back from actually flying, soaring, being successful, as a moment by moment decision, mindset shift. So yeah, I'm blessed. It took a freak ton of work though, and then we're still working on it because we still see broken pieces in our lives that we are repairing and building new. And I'm talking about Dakota and I. We're still broken people fixing things. Strengthening yourself to leave a toxic relationship. I wanted to give you guys a tip, a big tip that helped me so much when I was strengthening myself to be able to leave a toxic relationship. And I'm saying toxic relationship very generally. It can be like a cult that you're a part of, you're strengthening yourself to leave, or any type of like distant relatives, like parents, grandparents. And even if you're not like leaving the same house, but you're just like cutting off communication or distancing yourself or limiting communication, or just putting up boundaries, something to help strengthen you to put up boundaries. And obviously it can work for something a little bit more personal, a little bit more intimate, whether it's a toxic relationship like romantically or not. Anyway, what I did was, whenever I had a bad day with that relationship or that situation, I made myself write down everything that set me off, everything that pissed me off, everything that hurt my feelings, everything that was abusive, everything that was not good for me, was not right. I wrote down everything that was toxic, whether it was dictionary toxic or if it was just my own feelings, which do matter. If you feel it's toxic to you, write it down. If you feel it's like it's abuse to you or bad to you, write it down. And that's what I did. I wrote down that way because you're strengthening yourself. You're building up this reference or this resource that you can come back to, because as we all know, especially if you are one of those toxic relationships or a situation that is just hard to get out of and nobody else understands, when you finally break free, when you finally step away, when you finally set a boundary, you're immediately hit with guilt or feel bad, because you feel guilty that you're the one in the wrong, that you're the one hurting that person that's been hurting you for so long, or that you're the one that shouldn't be putting up boundaries because they're family, or you're putting up boundaries because they're your friends, they mean well. No, anytime that when you step away and you start to feel that guilt or that shame, or you're starting to feel bad for the one who has abused you, you will go back to your reference, wherever you wrote down all the bad things, and you will read and you will remind yourself and you will feel those feelings that you had, and you will be like, no, I made the right decision. It is good for me to step away. It is good for me to have these boundaries. And that is what I did. I wrote down, I had a notebook. I was like writing a letter to my abusers, and I wrote down, this is what you did, and this is how it made me feel, and like so many words, of course, not going into detail. And I was able to reference it because I stepped away and I started to feel bad, and I started to be ashamed of myself, and I started to miss that disgusting relationship, that situation. And I'd go back and I'd read it and I'd remind myself, oh my gosh, I am free, and it feels so good to be free. I have no shame. There is no shame in that. There is no shame in me being free. And so that's what you need to do as well, is write it down. And I know in a lot of situations that's probably not safe, especially if you're in a really, really toxic relationship and somebody reads everything that you write, or has all your things under lock and key, and you can't necessarily write anything down, and you can't necessarily use your phone notes because your phone gets confiscated and viewed, and like you have literally no secrets. You got to find a way, whether it be at a friend's house that you can trust, you leave a notebook there, or whatever. Like, you'll have to figure it out. Maybe you have a really good memory, but I don't ever trust my memory, especially because, like, if you have any type of, and I'm not dissing anybody that drinks, but if you have any type of alcoholic beverage, 1 or 2 drinks, you got 5 days of recovery right there, and alcohol targets your memory. So that's why I don't trust my memory. More and more now I do, because I've been sober for 3 years. But anyway, don't trust your memory. Figure out some way, somehow, to write that shit down, so that when you are free, you can go back whenever you're having those shameful moments and be like, nope, I made the right choice and I am free.